The Tigers. We've been talking about the Detroit Tigers. T-Foss want to bring you into this conversation ad nauseum. Look, I'm at the space with the Tigers now where I can't get disappointed. I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs. I hope they do, but I don't think this is a major league situation. I think you're going to set yourself up to get let down, kind of like yesterday, where you got excited when Spencer Torkelson first came up. Yesterday, more of the same, why he was sent back down to the minors, and did some other mistakes as well. Runners in scoring position, I believe, twice or three times yesterday, Pete?
Yes, sir.
Runners in scoring situation.
They were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
Yep.
That's how you do not get to the postseason. I will say this, and I'm going to open this conversation up to see where you are with this Detroit Tiger team. We take on the Red Sox tonight. Look, the Red Sox lost the game last night, so they stayed right at 4.5. They didn't lose the game, if you will. So right at 4.5. Casey Mize is on the mound today.
Yes, sir.
Returning from injury.
So T-Foss, this will be the only thing that can maybe turn me onto what the Detroit Tigers can do. If Casey Mize goes out there and looks like something tonight, in a big game, in a big moment, coming back, a guy that we drafted #1 overall, if he can go out there and look like something, that means now they will have two starting pitchers. Now, you got to see it more consistently, but two starting pitchers is what you're going to need. Because working this bullpen situation with Tarek Scuba as your only guy, I just can't buy into that. So I'm out on them making it, but I do hope it happens. Casey Mize may can get me there.
The way they're set up, it can't work long term with this whole bullpen thing. But this is, there's a lot of mediocre teams fighting for the playoffs. And I will say this, even though I am with you, I do not think the Tigers are going to make it.
Yeah.
But if they win this series against Boston, I have no choice but to say, you know what, they're in it. And the Tigers should do everything they can to try to make the wild card.
What are you expecting from tonight? And Pete, Casey Mize is on the mound. The Tigers coming off a loss and playing against the team. Like, wouldn't you want to? Don't you expect to see them try? When's the last time the Detroit Tigers have been in a space to maybe get into the playoffs? Although they might make it tonight, don't you want to see the effort?
Well, that's the thing. You just said exactly what I would have told you. I want to see that fire. This is the time. If you want to play some September baseball, then September baseball is the time for the stars to shine. If you have the talent, now is the time for you to use the talent to make runs happen. Bats need to be productive. You need to have everything kind of clicking, and this is where A.J. Hinch is going to be key here. I think A.J. Hinch has done a fabulous job with how his staff has kept the team in the whole fight the whole way here, and tonight and throughout this weekend, this is where A.J. Hinch is actually also going to prove to us if he's ready to take this team to the next level by making the appropriate decisions of managing the game and making sure that these kids are ready to play some tough baseball.
Here's what the Tigers have done.
Oh, tell us what the Tigers have done.
The Tigers have forced Chris Ilitch to make a move during the offseason.
Maybe.
Now, they said, if you got a core, we're going to spend. This looks like a core to me.
Right on.
Now, here's why I believe the Tigers will never amount to anything. Because
Not never, T-Foss.
ever.
Never?
Because
Never ever?
It's got to be an owner situation.
if you don't do anything in the offseason, it shows that you're not serious.
Yeah.
Chris Ilitch is treating this like a business, not as a franchise that wants to win. And I think, they'll probably could use a couple hitters and a pitcher for next year. And that's going to be a steep price tag. He'll balk. So that's why I never think the Tigers are going to hit the promised land again.
KG,
unless you get new ownership.
Yeah.
All right, KG, with just under 30 games, I think they're sitting at – how many games are they sitting at? 26 games now, I believe they have left in the season. Do you feel like the Tigers have found a core? I mean, we throw out some names. You throw out Parker Meadows. Looks like he's finally here. You throw out Riley Green. Looks like Riley Green has had a pretty good year thus to this point. You look at players like Colton Keith. You look at other players. Winslow Perez. You look at seems like they make – do you believe in this core, guys, or you're not there?
No, I do feel like they found a semblance of a core. Now, is every player that's on this team right now going to be in the core? No, but you look at the revival of Parker Meadows, somebody that was an Alavila guy that they had to send down in the middle of the season. He's come back up and his bat has been great. We already knew about the defense and the base running. Spencer Torkelson, somebody I struggle with because I feel like he does.
My God.
He has the ability. He does. I swear he does, but I just don't know if it's going to happen here. Last night in that game, he struck out in 2 really big spots, and career with bases loaded in those situations, he's batting under 100. So Spencer Tork is somebody I worry about, but everybody else, as far as the core, I feel like they do have a semblance of a core. You have a Riley Green, you have a Colt Keith, who has had an amazing 2 months of baseball. Yeah. So there is absolutely something there. You still got Tarek Skubal, you didn't trade him, so that would make him a part of the core. And ultimately, your pitching rotation is pretty solid when they're healthy. I just think they need to just go out here and put together the best baseball they can. You're dealing with young players, so you're still going to get some of those trials and tribulations at the plate. You're looking at Boston, they're 3.5 games out of the wild card. They're the first team out of the wild card. You go against them for 3 games, I believe. Is it 3 or 4 games, Pete?
It's 3.
It's 3 games in this series. Probably the most important series of your season.
Need a sweep.
You do need a sweep, but if they win the series, I feel like that's okay. And just let things shake out at the end of the year. But the young guys have to step up offensively. I'm not necessarily worried about the bullpen, even though they have been short on arms. You have Casey Mize back, Ty Madden as well. You got a Skubal day during this series as well. So it's all about the offense during this particular series.
You know, here's
you
the
need
problem
a
with the Tigers. You do.
I'm not even trying to be funny. Like we're at the point.
You do need a sweep.
2 out of 3 would be good.
2 out of 3 would be good.
But don't get swept. That year. Every time the Tigers, it seems, look over into the promised land, they slip.
If they lose one, if they lose one, I'd rather them get swept. Excuse me. If they lose 2, I'd rather them get swept.
Right.
Don't lose 2 and we're still trying
and then win the last one.
Exactly. And then people still try to do the calculations like, oh, you know what? Well, not do that. Just get swept because now I really don't want to think about it. If you're gonna lose 2, get swept.
You're not going to the game. You're not going to the playoffs on the meatloaf game plan. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 100%. And it is what it is.
But can I bring up one thing, Bray? Is that okay?
Please
now, the Tigers only have 6 games remaining against fellow Central opponents, and that's actually key because when you face obviously an opponent in your division, that helps move the games that you're either down or up. And if you look at the schedule remaining in September for the Tigers, it's a playoff schedule.
Where the White Sox at?
Well, the White Sox are at the end. The White Sox are at the end,
At the
dude.
very end.
Also, Tampa Bay's at the end. But you got you're hosting Boston. You're at San Diego.
That's
then
tough.
you have 8 games coming up with Baltimore, home there and home here, and then you got the Kansas City Royals. This is how you want to see if the Tigers are good. Then you start beating these teams, and you make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a murderous row right there. To finish the season off
here's
trying
the
to
thing
be
I don't see: the teams who are fighting were in playoff position, like 12, 15 games above 500.
Yeah,
are the Tigers ever going to be double digits over 500? I just don't think so.
You talking about this season? Probably not, but
we're there now. 1.
Yeah, one game.
They're 1 game above because they lost. They were at 2. They lost. Yeah, man. If you get this sweep, it's a lot of ifs. Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny? It's always ifs with Detroit sports.
Man, what?
If we don't fumble, if we don't blow 20 games.
Right. Tell me about it.
With Dylan, what's his name? Excuse me. Who's the?
Who's the captain that's for the everyday life. Like, for instance,
Dylan Larkin.
If you had little mitten hands, if you had mitten hands, you probably wouldn't be a wide receiver in the NFL. So that's another if. Everything is an if. Life is an if.
That's true.
So you got to overcome the ifs.
Yeah, I think he win some of these U.S. Opens if his uniform was a little bit better too.
Right.
I love Francis Tiafoe, man. His uniforms are trash.
But to the Tigers' point, I mean, we have seen them beat the Dodgers. We've seen them compete with some of the top tier teams. Yes, they beat the Yankees. We've seen them compete with some of the top tier teams. It's the games that they're supposed to win that they've had trouble with. Now, lately, they've been able to do that. I mean, this whole stretch has been built off of bad MLB teams. We got to be real about it. But they are doing what they are supposed to do. So if they can go into Boston and put up at least 2 games, they do need a sweep. But if they can put up at least 2 games, that's good. That keeps them in the hunt. And you just got to see how things play out at the end. But
it does. But now here is the extra to this series.
Yeah.
The Tigers know they have to play well. The Red Sox know they have to play well to keep them off their case.
True. The Red Sox been in
win in a pressure situation?
Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Can they win in a pressure situation?
That's
well,
the question.
Boston's going to be like
With young
trying
guys.
To get, we're trying to get the Yankees. We're trying to win our division. We want to. I mean, the Red Sox are thinking more about than just making the playoffs. They want to
True.
make a run.
True.
Tigers, let's just get in and see what happens.
All right, here's a good question. Look, enough of that. Like, we know where that is. We probably don't need to revisit this again. I feel like, excuse me, we're doing it because obviously they're playing the Boston Red Sox. But each and every win or loss, we're coming back to the board and we're trying to reconfigure the algorithm. Scott Harris. Scott Harris is a guy that did not make the necessary moves. A lot of people believe in the offseason, knowing what the season was going to be and what you need. A lot of people believe he failed there. He failed with the Javi Baez experience, although he's not.
You're right. He's not responsible.
He's not.
For that.
That's what I'm saying. He's not forking over the money. And then also trade deadline. You get with Flaherty for what a lot of people believe to be a steal for the other team, not us. Where are you with Scott Harris in all of this?
Not his fault.
Okay.
I think Scott Harris,
Right.
let's say if you have a great swimmer and this guy can, break world records. Well, if you put a brick on the end of his leg, he's not going to be swimming as well. I think Scott Harris has a brick on his leg while he's trying to swim.
Chris Ilitch.
The brick is Chris Ilitch.
Yeah.
That's the guy that I blame because if I want to go back to the beginning of the season, before the season even began.
Oh, take us back to it.
If you read the quotes, what did they say? Oh, gosh, darn it, we don't have enough hitting.
Right.
We're going to try to keep it close with our pitching, but we don't have any hitting. Well, a good owner would have said, oh, really?
Let's go
Get me
some-
the best hitters you can. I'll pay for it. Let's trade. I don't know if we can sign free agents, but whatever. I would have said in the offseason, this is our problem. Bring me some offense.
Yeah.
I don't care what it
too.
costs.
There were some guys there. Cody
Yeah.
Bellinger was one of the guys that came up, a bigger player. Then also keep taking the age-old take Chapman as well as J.D. Martinez.
Yeah.
So
Let's
you
go
see-
back to the Carlos Correa problem.
Correa didn't tear it up in Minnesota though.
I hear you, but he
True,
was a
but
better
better
option
than
than
Javi
Baez.
Baez.
He's a better option than Baez.
Yeah,
You know what?
come on
I deserve that.
Anybody is better than
Love you still,
Javi
Brett.
Baez. But
But
when
didn't we match it and he said no? Or am I making that up?
I think you are
remember
right
now,
on that,
yeah.
but still, they should have gone over. They shouldn't have been matching. They should have been
Yeah.
just throwing cases of money at this
Okay.
point.
But here's
exactly.
the other thing we heard. Well, we
What
don't
are you
want to
do-
block
hold
the
on.
kid's path.
What are you doing over there?
I'm just trying to educate you.
He
thought
touching his breast,
I
though.
thought you was doing like
No, I wasn't doing the fight,
Massaging your breast while you giving sports takes.
No.
I was confused, sir. My apologies.
I'm just trying to rub my shoulder.
Oh, okay.